Okay.
Woo!
Hey, everyone, and welcome to 10 Talks. I'm your host, Kyle Garza.
I'm your co-host, Don Trimble.
And I'm your co-host, Nick Busta.
Today, we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about how we met our wives, our dearly beloveds, our spouses.
Our very patient wives.
Very patient. You know, there's an old expression that goes, every man marries out of his league, and we are no exception to that. Undoubtedly.
Amen.
For sure.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and start. It's a real humdinger of a hootenanny, this one. And so,
alliteration.
Thank you very much. And so I'll just come out right and say it. I would advocate this to absolutely no one. For many a reason.
Okay.
The method of
I'm
how
terrified
my
of
wife
this
and I
now.
met. And so I'll give you my concise story, and then I'll kind of flesh it out just a smidge. So I'll say this. My wife, Jenny, she is the only girlfriend I've ever had.
Okay.
Also the only ex-girlfriend I've ever had because now she's my wife. See what I did there?
One of
All right.
these.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've
That
heard
being
these.
said, we met when we were 14 years old online in an America Online chat room.
AOL, dude.
Yeah.
It's bringing people together. I told you, AIM. That's what everybody did.
So your Lancer XC screen name, that's what lured
I had one
her.
before. I went to her. And so, yeah, at the time it was A Busta Fam. So it was our like family account.
What
And
was
so
hers?
family account?
Oh, yeah. It was.
So, like, your dad occasionally logged in, and, like, some girls like, hey. And he's like,
What's happening?
Oh, man. Her first one, it was Butterfly Angel 25, I want to say it was.
This is
so
getting me
big.
But then
Suck.
it went to J Heart 25, and so that was the main. I'm pretty sure I might be messing up on the details, but anyway, I'll make it succinct. So
that's fine.
again, like, don't do this. I mean, like, there's so many things that could go wrong with this situation.
With
but,
meeting someone online, like,
Well,
like being catfished, like that.
well,
or-
I mean, like, yeah, the whole thing, like, okay, like, so we're in a chat room called Random Chat Room 25. And, everyone was doing the whole, like, hey, where are you from? That kind of thing. It was, the ASL, age, sex, location check.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I noticed on her profile, she had a little HTML profile, that she had a Bible verse in her profile. And I'm thinking in my head, oh, she's a Christian like me. Because if you have a Bible verse, that means you're a Christian.
By
It's like-
default.
yeah, of course.
Of course.
And so I instant message her, and she responds. And, I'm going through her, we're just kind of talking, like, making small talk, that kind of thing. But then I noticed on her profile it says, I was born with only half a heart, and then it has the letters HLHS afterwards. Well, I come to find out later that stands for her diagnosis because she was born with only half of a working heart.
Like, actually.
Like, legit. Yeah, one of the oldest in the world to survive with it. But I didn't know that at the time. So I'm like, I don't know what those letters mean.
You're thinking it's a metaphor for, like,
Yes!
this is an emo
Sure.
girl.
Yeah, so I thought, oh, that's sweet. She's looking for the other half of her heart. And so I typed that to her, and she's like, what do you mean? And I like, that's so really sweet. What do you mean? Oh, you're looking for your other half. She's like, what? Like, oh, your profile. She's like, no, I was actually born with half of a heart. And then
Oh,
I typed back,
goodness.
no, you weren't. See, because, like,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
bro.
I know.
Because I complete you?
Oh, no.
You're saying this already?
I know, like, you're just trying to set it up.
No, like, I'm like, no, see, because, I took health class and we just went through the heart. We spent like 3 days on it. So I'm like practically a cardiologist. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know you need all four chambers. So like, you're lying. And so she's like, oh, poor stupid child. So she explained it to me, open heart surgeries, all these kinds of things, medicine.
Stupid child, stupid children. You're 14.
Yeah.
So that's
You
the
should know
thing.
better.
Yeah,
This is
so
beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And so,
Yeah.
like, she kind of wins me over, but I mean, like, I'm starting to come around, like, oh, okay, so it is possible. And then she sends me a picture, and I'm like, she's cute, And so,
Oh, that kind of picture. I'm thinking, like,
This
her
is
heart?
working.
Like, a surgery?
oh no, like, I'm like, I gotta keep in touch with this girl. And so we started online relationship like that. And so then after that, it was just to keep it short, we would, because she was in a different part of the state, we would fly to see each other every 3 to 6 months.
At
like
how-
high school
Wow.
dances
At what
and things
age?
Like that. So we started when we were 14, but then
Wow.
all through high school, yeah, we went
This
back
is-
and forth.
beyond beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's really precious.
Man.
That's what I was going for. I was going for precious.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You spent a lot of money just visiting each
Thank you,
other.
Southwest Airlines.
This was an investment.
Yeah.
Southwest, bringing people together.
There you go. Oh, man.
Which
That's got to be a commercial.
Like, and not to make it long because you could go forever, but like,
Okay.
when did you know? Because you're starting to, seriously fly.
I proposed to her when we were 16. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Are you gonna go
kid
after
you
this?
not.
Because like,
I don't
this
even
is-
know if I can now, because like, how do you top that?
Well, I mean, another episode we could talk about that.
I
but
love
it was,
you, man, and I love.
Wait,
love
wait,
you
now,
guys.
because there's
This is
proposing
so-
and then there's getting married.
is beautiful.
So when did marriage actually follow?
Okay, not till after I graduated from college. So it was
Okay.
a long engagement.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think people are gonna hear 16 and they're gonna be like, "Is that legal? Can you?"
No, that's for
yeah,
sure.
it's
Maybe-
legal to
maybe in
ask. It's legal
Ohio.
for her to say, oh. And
Well,
so-
okay, I love how you're like talking about this notion of like you were in a random chat room.
Yeah, it was called Random Chat Room.
And this is nuts because so to this day I take a lot of pride in I start my classes out with this.
Okay.
I met my wife because of a random alphabetical seating chart. So
Also, like a high school kind of thing.
yes,
What?
junior
Okay.
year, yeah. I was in Western Civ. I didn't know Civ stood for civilization. I didn't even know what class I'm walking into. The teacher
Clearly
that's
never
up
played
there,
Civilization.
yeah, man, he's dude.
That's how we all learned history.
I've always
I
been an
think.
art guy. Okay, I'm thinking
Yeah.
about other things, but. No, I walk in and I mean this guy's up there. He should have retired 2 years before he told us so much, right?
Oh
And
my gosh.
everything about this is random, right?
Yeah.
And a guy's in there, and you've got a pot full of kids. They just randomly got signed up for this class.
Sure.
And he's up there, and he's like, alphabetical. I mean that word, come on, that changed my life. And that notion of random, I love it. So
Okay.
I'll get up in front of students and I'll like start telling them the story, and I'm telling them how like weird it is how this guy, it's random. He comes in
Yeah.
and he says this, and then I sit down, and there's like something about this notion of like sitting down and then all of a sudden seeing my lady, Katie. Like I saw
Whose last
her.
name is like Trev something,
Well,
some
and
TR.
and even the notion of like thinking I know what I want in life, right? Like, because
Okay.
I'm mad. This guy just said alphabetical. I have other friends in the class.
Sure, of course, yeah. and
Sure.
you're like, come
All
on
of their
now.
friends, all of my friends are the top of the alphabet. They're right up front, I'm like, great. And Trimble's falling to the back of the room
Naturally.
next to Scott, and instantly I needed help on all of my homework.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
All of my homework. And to be honest too, so I'll tell everybody, that story, and then I'm like, I just say, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce
no,
you
I
they
love
used
it.
to sit
future husband and wife, and I
Yeah.
click the screen, and then it's honestly one of my great joys of being a teacher, because
Okay.
come on, like
Yeah.
everybody's looking at
Yeah,
everyone
you're
like,
forcing everyone to be
Right?
awkward.
oh, and I'm like, hey, you can't do that. It's not. Oh. It's just great, but believe it or not, so I had to like win her over. She was not getting any hints I'm throwing down. I'm like,
Really?
please take me, right? Like, but actually, my 7th grade year in middle school, I had a girl come up to me, and she had the paper. She's unfolding it, and she's like, "Hey, will you go out with?" I thought she was like asking for her, and I was considering,
Okay.
it's kind of cute, Shelby. I'm like, maybe, and then she's like,
Yeah.
wait, no. Will you go out with Katie? And I didn't even realize who she was.
Oh, no,
She's-
really?
So my wife asked me out in 7th grade. It's still, don't say, did you
No,
listen to
but
your
I mean,
story?
Like,
No,
think about it,
bro,
'cause,
like-
she
Nothing.
wasn't getting any hints either. So, like, couldn't you have been like, hey, remember? Like, you wanted this.
I still don't even think it clicked though. Like I didn't remember her when
Yeah,
she
yeah.
asked. I
Oh,
said
man.
literally to her, I don't know who Katie is, and she's
Oh.
like, I know. She was even like, and not even to be like,
Yeah.
pompous or anything. Like I literally didn't know. And she's like, she's been asking for your pencil like on a daily in algebra. Are you dumb? She has your pencil right
Wow.
now.
Wow.
So. Yeah, this notion of the random. I love this idea. Like
Yeah.
I wake up on a daily next to a person who just so happened to be in a room and happened to have the name Scott. What is
Yeah,
that?
That works.
There you go.
That
Right?
works. Wow.
Let's hear that. What do you got
Yeah.
right now?
Let's hear about it.
I don't know if I have anything like that. Like nothing that brutal and nothing that I don't know what's the word for that. Just spontaneous.
yeah,
you know,
sure.
like where
Yeah.
things are being thrown together.
Serendipitous.
Oh, look at
Uh,
you.
I guess ours was. I mean, I don't want to use the word scandalous.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So we're 4 years apart. I was an outgoing senior when she was an incoming freshman
Okay.
in high school. Now, I will say that, also noting that did not even catch my eye in high school initially. She
Yeah.
was this super introverted wallflower. I was this very extroverted, like I know everybody and I you know, hang out with everyone kind of person.
All
So
14.
we had like no social group commonality really.
Okay.
Again, super homeschool family to my mind. And I was trying to pretend I wasn't also like in the homeschool group at the same time in high school.
Yeah, okay.
'Cause I was doing independent study.
Okay.
Which is markedly different. But then what ended up happening was after high school, for both of us, things just started kind of clicking. So I had dated 2 girls prior to her, and I don't even know if you can call it dated. One like literally lasted a week before she dumped me, and it was the standard. It's not me. Rather, it's not you, it's me. And like the next day, she was with someone else, and that just made me feel super scummy. It was like love sucks because I was planning on doing the whole thing like the first person I date is the person I marry. So then that didn't work out, and then the next one was just the same kind of thing, just jumping into something just without really thinking about it too well.
Yeah.
I held nothing against them. Like it was just me being immature. But likewise, just got dumped with someone else the next day.
Oh,
So like I was just super done.
Yeah.
Like, and I got to the age where I was like, you know what? Like I'm just gonna like work. I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna serve the Lord in education, and I'm just gonna live my days happily content like that.
Yeah.
Literally within the next month, my church goes on this mission trip to South Africa. And it was on this trip that like my priorities in life completely shifted.
Yeah.
I had like all those, I don't know if you had this, like the list of what you want in a spouse.
Sure.
Did you ever like write one of those lists?
Oh,
where
you
were
like- you, like, thought
this
this
is what I'm
through.
looking
12,
for.
but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like,
Okay.
like you have that list, right?
Yeah.
So my list had like certain eye color, hair color, height, interests. Like I was
Wow.
really particular.
Okay.
And somewhere down that list was like Christian.
Did the
'Cause it was like-
did the list exist too? Don't lie.
On like a Word document. I didn't like
Okay.
who uses paper? Like think I'm a girl. I journal or something like that. Guys don't have emotions in journals. So I had this list, and like Christian was somewhere down there as like obviously as like a default. This mission trip in South Africa completely reevaluated my entire system because I saw my wife Mackenzie, and just watching her in this atmosphere where she was like serving others and just purely like doing it for not a single word of thanks and doing it just out of the goodness of her heart was just such a like, wow, like this is a person, a human being who is fully wrapped up in who Jesus is and that defines her character.
Yeah.
And all my priorities became she's Christian at heart.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
she lives the heart of Christ with people around her. And I remember coming back from that trip thinking, if not this girl, then a girl with this kind of heart for sure.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, I started just, kind of testing the waters, asking, the standards of like, hey, you like sushi? She'd never had sushi, so it was the first time we had sushi together. It was like a little I'm just here to try sushi. This isn't a date. Trying to play it off like that.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Halloween Horror Nights. Like, hey, dude, like being terrified?
Do you like peeing your pants?
I don't know how to smoothly get that along.
Yeah.
But yeah, also just why not kind of thing.
Okay.
So she kept saying yes to things basically.
Yeah.
And that was like the constant like, okay, does this mean she's like a really nice girl who just like wants to like go along with stuff, or is there something going on?
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until like I actually had asked her out and said like, hey, I've been praying about this for a long time. I've just been wondering if you reciprocate that feeling. Fortunately, she knew what the word reciprocate means, which is really cool.
Which was also on the
Right.
list.
super on the
It is.
list, right? Good vocabulary. And
Not on mine.
I'll never forget, dude. Her response was, "I've been thinking about this and praying about this for a long time too."
Hey.
So yes.
Yeah, wonderful.
And I was
You
like,
guys
whoa,
were
dude.
so mature.
Dude, it gets better.
Wow.
Because immediately after that, she's
you-
like, "This is awesome, but you should talk to my dad."
Okay, yeah.
Right?
I got that story going too, man. I don't want to.
And then I was immediately like, what if I already did? Because unbeknownst to her, I found a day in the weekend where no one was home but Stan, and made my way to their house and said, hey, she's your daughter. She still lives under your roof. I just want to be respectful and say,
Wow.
Look at you.
what do you think of me?
That's
Oh my
skill.
gosh.
Pursuing
That is
your daughter.
skill.
Yeah.
And he gave me a Diet Dr. Pepper. I'll never forget that.
Hey.
'Cause he was trying.
Win.
And he just kind of evaluated me. He's like, well, you love the Lord. You got a full-time job. You
Yeah.
seem to be like a good character guy. By all means, see how she feels, basically. Because
Okay.
he knew nothing. Her sisters were like more had like an idea. Because every time that apparently I would come up in conversation at home, she would just exit that conversation immediately. Like had nothing to say about Kyle,
Okay.
which was cool. So yeah, that's like our little bit of our how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a great story.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it for today's episode of 10 Talks. Until next time, we'll say once again, we love you guys. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Later. I dig.
That was too long.
No.